Alright, we're going to go and show you how to get the Raspbian Wheezy distribution onto an SD card and then actually go and boot up the Raspberry Pi. Okay, to get started with this project we're going to need a few things, and the first thing that we need to get is the Raspberry Pi. We also need to have an SD card that we're going to write the image to so we can actually configure and boot the Pi. We're also going to need to have a power supply. In this case I'm using an iPad USB charger along with a USB cable with a micro USB connection. You also need to have a keyboard. In this case I'm going to be using this wireless keyboard, so I got the dongle to go with that. And you're also going to need to have a video display of some sort. And this one here I'm using is a display that is used for the old iPods. You also, along with the video display, you're going to need a video cable. In this case I'm going to be using the composite video, so I also need to have a composite cable. But if you're doing HDMI, you can get a HDMI cable and for your display. Okay. A couple other things, optional things that you can get, is you can get a Raspberry Pi case, and this one here just happens to be from Bud Industries, and the thing just snaps together. The Pi just snaps into place, and you just put it together. And another good resource is this Raspberry Pi book by Evan Upton. It's a really good resource, and you'll see me refer to it several times. But I highly recommend you getting that book. So let's get started. So what you're going to want to do is just go to raspberrypi.org/downloads to get the latest image of Raspbian Wheezy. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go ahead and get Raspbian Wheezy, and you can see December 16th is when they last updated it. So let's go ahead and grab that. And we'll just wait as this downloads. And let's create a new folder. I've got so many folders, but let's do if I don't already have a folder named that. Okay, awesome. Alright, so we'll save the zip file in there. And it's telling me we got 6 minutes, so let's just wait until that completes. Okay, if you're running a Windows PC, you're going to need to get a utility called Win32 Disk Imager. So while our Raspbian image is downloading, let's go ahead and do that. So we'll open up a new window, and we're going to go to launchpad.net/Win32-image-writer/+download. So let's go there. And we get the download files, and we don't need the source, we just need the binary. So one of the things is this one says use with caution, see bug 985080. Alright, I don't really care to download something that may be buggy, so let's go with the earlier release. And I've used this release, it works just fine. So we're going to go ahead and click on this and download that. And we're going to save it to the same folder. And this one's much quicker. It's already downloaded, so let's go to our folder here, and we can see our disk imager. Let's just go ahead and open it up. I'm using WinRAR here. I see that there's several files here, so let's make a new folder to hold all these, because I don't like things getting cluttered up. So we're going to do Win32 Disk Imager, and let's extract all of our files over there. Okay, there we go. Now we can close this, and I can go back up into this directory and actually delete that. So let's do that. Okay, so let's keep waiting for the Raspbian image to download. Download's just about complete. There we go. Awesome. Alright, so our Raspbian image is downloaded. So let's go ahead and open up that zip file. And we're going to take the Raspbian image and just drag it over. Well, extract it, I should say. You don't need to be, I'm using WinRAR here, but you can use any application you want. You can use the Windows default utility to decompress or extract files from a archive. Okay, and I've inserted my SD card in my computer, my card reader, and it's drive W. So that's one of the things. Just make sure you know which drive your SD card's in. Okay, so now I can close this, and I can go ahead and get rid of the zip file if I like. So let's just clean things up, and we'll do that. All right. So we're going to go into the disk imager folder that I had created. And we're going to run the Win32 disk imager utility. And Windows, of course, if you're running Vista or 7, it's going to ask you to allow it. You say yes. Okay, so the disk imager utility comes up and it's asking you for an image file and the device. So first I'm going to select the drive W, and then I'm going to click over here to select a file. So we're going to go up one folder, and we're going to select the Wheezy Raspbian image, and I don't know why it says save instead of open. And then we're going to actually write to the drive, and it's warning us saying, hey, we're going to erase all this data that's on your disk. You really want to continue? Yes. Alright, so this is going to take it a little while, so we'll come back in a minute. Okay, we're just about done. We're at 99%. Okay, and it's done, so we can just just exit from this utility. Okay. Okay, now we've got the Raspbian image on our SD card, so let's go ahead and get started. I've got the Raspberry Pi, actually put it in the case because there could be conductive stuff such as blobs of solder on this desk, so I don't want to lay this board right on the desk and get it shorted out on something. So I'm going to go and slide the SD card in here into our Pi. One of the other things is if you have a wired Ethernet connection, go ahead and use that. If you don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to plug that in. The next thing I'm going to do is plug in our video cable. I'm using composite video, so I'll plug it in the composite jack. Again, if you're using HDMI, just go ahead and plug it into the HDMI jack. And I'll plug that up to our monitor. The next thing is we need to plug in our keyboard and mouse. This has both of them built in, which I didn't say before, but mouse isn't necessary, but you could. So there it is. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to plug in the USB power. Now, one of the things, you'll see some LEDs on this side over here light up, letting you know that it's got power and that it's booting. So let me keep my hand out of the way and plug that in. And you'll see there they go. And now on our display, we're seeing the Raspberry Pi boot up. So if you made it this far, congratulations. Let's go over the configuration next. Okay, so we're in the Raspbian config menu. Just so you know, you'll be able to get back to this menu at any time by typing raspi-config at the command line. So the first thing we'll go into is expand the root file system. One of the things is you only need to do this if you have a large card, and in this case I think I'm using a 4 gig card, so click OK. It will do that on reboot. Overscan, I'm not going to worry about that. Configure keyboard. This one's important because if you're not using a UK keyboard, because of course Raspberry Pi was developed in the UK, and so everything's set up for the UK. But I'm using an English keyboard, so I need to reconfigure it. So I'm going to leave it here at the generic 105 keyboard. And in here I'm going to select Other, because as you notice all the ones on the list here are for the UK. And I'm going to scroll down to English US and select that. By the way, I'm just hitting the Enter key to select these. You could also hit the tab and go to the bottom, but I'm not doing that. Alright, so next thing that we're going to go to is we're going to scroll all the way up here to the top, I believe it is, and we're just going to select the generic English US. Hit Enter. And then it's asking us for the function for different hotkeys. I'm just going to take the defaults on all of these. And okay, let's see. Yes, default. I'll say no on me. So it's going to write all of our configuration settings. Okay, so we're back. So after the keyboard, then you have change password. You can do that if you like, but I suggest just leaving it at default. Change locale. This is important again if you're not in the UK, which we're not. So let's go into here. Okay, we're going to scroll down and we'll find that the UK one is selected. So as we're going down, we're looking for EN. Oops, and it's actually the Great Britain. So we're going to hit the space bar. The space bar will deselect that. And then we're going to go and scroll down and find the US. And let's see. Sorry, it's kind of hard to read on the screen. So there we go. And I'm going to select the English US UTF-8. So we're going to hit the space bar to select that. And just to demonstrate, I'm going to hit the tab key, and that'll take us down to the bottom. Then we can use our arrow keys to switch between OK and cancel. We're going to hit OK. And then it's going to ask us what the default we want to use. We're going to select English US again. I hit the Enter key. Of course, it's writing now configuration file. Now, one of the reasons all this is important is the first time I set up the Raspberry Pi, I didn't realize that I needed to go through this. And I went to type in some commands, and I wanted the pipe symbol, and tilde kept coming out the keyboard. So I didn't like that much. Okay, some of the other things that we can do here. The time zone. We want to change the time zone because, again, we're not in the UK. So we're going to just go up here to US, and we're in the Eastern time zone. Hit Enter. Okay, and we're back. Memory split, I'm not going to worry about that. Overclocking, no. SSH server, this is a useful thing to set up. So I'm just going to go ahead and set this one up. So yeah, I'd like to enable that. And SSH server is enabled. Awesome. Okay. It's nice. I don't remember that being on there before. Boot behavior. Should the boot right in the desktop? I'm going to set it to yes because a lot of times I find myself using the desktop, so let's go ahead and do this. If you're going to run a headless installation, then you're going to want no, of course, but let's just do yes. Okay, done. Boom. And I'm going to go ahead and hit tab and select finish. Would you like to reboot now? Yes. Okay, that's rebooting. Now, one of the things when it gets to expanding the file system, it's going to take a long time because it's a rather large card. So, and I don't remember if it's 4 or 8 gig card, but again, it's a rather large card, and it'll take a while to expand the file system. So, we'll just have to be patient. Okay, so now it's performing the online resize of the disk. So we'll break the video here and we'll come back once it's just about done. Okay, we're done now. So it's doing some last minute configuration stuff as it boots into the desktop here. So you can see it's doing the fonts and the key map. So let me see, so it took around 15 minutes or so in order to expand the file system. And the desktop should appear here in a few seconds. Yay! And now we are in the Raspberry Pi desktop. So if you've gotten this far, congratulations. We are done. Alright, so we were able to go and write the Raspbian Wheezy distribution onto our SD card. And then we were able to boot the Raspberry Pi off of the SD card and got to the desktop. Now if you're going to be doing wireless networking, the next thing to do would be to configure the wireless adapter. One of the other things that I want to go into is VNC, which is so you can actually do a remote desktop into the Raspberry Pi, so you don't always need to have it hooked up to your computer monitor and so forth. So those are the next few things that we'll do on the Raspberry Pi. See you later.